My junior year, this is when I was voted team captain. This is when University of Kentucky won its first ever SEC title in program history. And I ended up concluding my junior year by placing 7th in the country, which I was proud of this. To be top 8, you're an All-American, it's a pretty high honor. It wasn't my best time, so I knew I was capable of more. And so it was right then and there my junior year that I placed 7th in the nation that I set a goal for my senior year to win a national title, which would of course mean becoming the fastest woman in the country in my respective event. And so senior year rolls around. I'm just gonna keep alternating. I have swimmer lungs, I can just scream. Senior year rolls around. I'm right on pace to achieve this goal. About midway through my senior season, I was ranked 3rd in the nation in the 200 freestyle, trailing the girl in 2nd, a girl I knew very well, because like in most sports, your top tier athletes know of each other regardless of where you compete because we've grown up competing against each other, trailing her by a few 100s. She actually went to Cal. Now she has transferred to University of Florida, if that tells you anything. But the swimmer who was leading the nation, by body lengths, might I add, was a swimmer that none of us had ever heard of before. Not me, not my teammates, not my coaches, not the other competitors, not my family, no one. And this is the first time we became aware of a swimmer named Leah Thomas. For all we knew at the time, I mean, keep in mind, we hadn't seen a photo of this person, or else things probably would have been a little more clear. But for all I knew, this was a senior, which is very rare. No one just pops out of thin air their senior year. From UPenn, which is not a school that has ever historically produced that caliber of a swimmer. Leading the nation by body lengths in events ranging from the 100 freestyle, which is a sprint, and all of the freestyle events in between through the mile, which is of course long distance. And for those of you who might not necessarily understand swimming, that's like saying your best, thinking about this in terms of your Olympic runners, it's like saying your best 200-meter runner is your best marathon runner. It doesn't happen. They're two totally different systems, but that's what we were seeing in this person. And so I'm scratching my head. I'm looking up the name Leah Thomas. There's no history of this person until that season. None of it made sense, but I'll tell you, never once did it cross my mind that this could be anything other than a female. Never even crossed my mind. And we continued to stay in the dark until an article came out disclosing that Leah Thomas is actually Will Thomas and swam 3 years on the men's team at UPenn before deciding to switch to the women's team. I went to the same database where I was looking up the name Leah Thomas and looked up the name Will Thomas. And to literally no one's surprise, he was, I'll be nice, mediocre at best. That's generous. He was less than average when competing against the men, ranking in the same event the year prior, 554th in the nation in the men's, his rightful category, to again now switching to the women's, and not just number 1, I mean total and utter domination of the entire country of women. Upon reading this, I was shocked. Of course I was shocked. But really it was like this sense of relief is how I felt. Like, oh, duh, this makes sense, he's a man. And I thought the NCAA would see it that way. The same way I saw it. Again, my teammates, my coaches, my family, how anyone with any amount of brain activity would probably comprehend this. But lo and behold, the NCAA did not. They saw absolutely nothing wrong with this. And so about 3 weeks before our national championships in March of 2022, they announced that Thomas's participation in the women's category was a non-negotiable, meaning there was nothing that we could do about this.